Chapter 40. The next day, Li Fuchen caught another 20+ kg normal treasure fish. The next day, he caught another 10+ kg first-tier treasure fish. The shocking fishing luck stunned the stalwart youth and the others. At the same time, it triggered the greed in many of them. If they could snatch Li Fuchen's treasure fish, they could save a few months of hard work. Let's fish like crazy. When the time comes, they will all be mine. The stalwart youth's eyes flashed with a terrifying light. In a short span of half a month, Li Fuchen caught 4 first-tier treasure fish and 10 normal treasure fish. At this moment, out of the 50 boxes of first-tier bait, only 20 boxes were used. The reason why he used so much was because after the bait was soaked in water, the effects would weaken and he would have to change the bait frequently. Other than that, some of the more cunning treasure fish would secretly eat the bait without making a sound. Night came. Li Fuchen sat cross-legged in the middle of the house. Revolving the 6th rank red jade technique, a pale red glow appeared on Li Fuchen's abdomen. At the same time, a blazing chi was emitted and rushed to the top of Li Fuchen's head, forming a white-hot mist. After half a month of cultivation, Li Fuchen had already condensed the 6th rank red jade technique intent to the peak. Just one more step and he could break through to the 7th rank. As time passed, the white mist on top of Li Fuchen's head became denser. Vaguely, traces of pale red could be seen within the white mist, as if there was a flame growing. As the pale red color increased, the temperature of the house rose rapidly, as if there was a furnace floating above Li Fuchen's head. Not knowing how much time had passed, the mist on top of Li Fuchen's head turned pale red. A shocking chi presence expanded, making Li Fuchen look like a demon. 7th rank red jade technique, completed. Boom. Clenching his fist, Li Fuchen punched into the air. Visible to the naked eye, the air in the house distorted. This was the result of the fist force being too hot and domineering, causing the air in front of the fist to be compressed and distorted. A total of 9 extra meridians. After the chi is prepared, it is even more domineering and hot. The more meridians one had, the more powerful one's true chi would be. According to legend, a heaven-grade cultivation technique could open up all the meridians and acupoints in one's body. Once one's true chi was activated, it would be enough to burst forth with a power that could destroy heaven and earth. But that was too far away from Li Fuchen. Don't even mention a heaven-class cultivation technique. Even an earth-class cultivation technique was already a sect-defining art of each major sect and wouldn't be easily imparted. I wonder what the temperature is like. Li Fuchen caught a 1 kilogram silver steel fish from the pond. He cut open its belly and sprinkled some seasoning on it. Li Fuchen opened his palm and red jade chi flowed into his palm, grilling the silver steel fish. The skin of the silver iron fish was gradually roasted black, and a rich smell of grilled fish spread out. As expected of the level 7 red jade art. Li Fuchen's eyes lit up. Actually, the 6th stage of the red jade art was already very hot. It was completely possible to fry fish with one's palm, but treasure fish were still treasure fish. The flesh contained a strange power, and the density of the flesh was also very high. As time elapsed, traces of pale red chi rose from Li Fuchen's palm and enveloped the silver iron fish. True chi manifesting. This was something only an origin realm martial artist could do. When chi was attached to the palm or sword, it could greatly increase the lethality of the attack. When chi was attached to the skin, it could greatly increase the defense. Now that the red jade art was at the 7th rank, Li Fuchen could actually manifest his chi. Li Fuchen was only at the 6th level of the Chi realm, which was a few levels and 1 realm away from the origin realm. Of course, Li Fuchen's Chi manifestation was different from an origin realm martial artist's Chi manifestation. An origin realm martial artist could manifest their Chi at any time, but Li Fuchen needed a long period of time to manifest his Chi. In a battle, it was useless. After all, the enemy wasn't a target that could just stand there and wait for a beating. I wonder what would happen when the Scarlet Fire technique is at the 9th rank. The Scarlet Fire technique was much more domineering and blazing than the Red Jade technique. The 6th rank was already comparable to or even beyond the 7th rank Red Jade technique. One could only imagine the power of the 7th, 8th, and 9th rank. After about the time it took to brew a cup of tea, the silver steel fish was cooked. Li Fuchen took a bite and felt that the taste wasn't bad. But it wasn't over yet. As the fish entered his stomach, Li Fuchen could feel a warm current spreading throughout his body, nourishing and tempering his body. The meat of the treasure fish was similar to a body-tempering pill. It could temper the body and increase one's strength. But the effects were several folds worse than a body-tempering pill. Regardless, a body-tempering pill was worth 500 gold coins. A silver steel fish was worth at most a few dozen gold coins. Li Fuchen had seen people buying treasure fish before, so he had a rough idea of its price. Perhaps it was because the red jade technique was at the 7th rank. On the second day, Li Fuchen smoothly cultivated the scarlet fire technique to the 4th rank. Circulating his qi, a blazing heat spread out. Li Fuchen had a feeling that if he could cultivate the scarlet fire technique to the 9th rank, even if he was at the 6th level of the qi realm, he would be able to manifest qi from his palms and increase his lethality. Junior brother, may I know your name? Just as Li Fuchen pushed open the door and was about to go fishing, a 16 or 17-year-old youth with a smile on his face blocked Li Fuchen's path. Li Fuchen furrowed his brows. Those who came with ill intentions, those who came with good intentions wouldn't come. To be honest, he didn't want to provoke any veteran outer sect disciples, because he didn't have the confidence to go against them. Li Fuchen. Li Fuchen replied indifferently. Junior Li, I am Huang Shitian. I would like to make a business deal with Junior Li. What business deal? For the past half a month, Junior Li has caught quite a number of treasure fish. Senior is willing to purchase all of your normal treasure fish for 1 gold per kg, and 10 gold per kg for all of your first-tier treasure fish. What do you think, Junior Li? Senior Huang, even though Fuchen is a newcomer, he isn't ignorant. From what I know, normal treasure fish are worth at least 20 gold per kg, and first-tier fish are worth at least 200 gold per kg. Huang Shitian laughed. Even though Senior's price is a little low, but at least it won't make Junior Li's efforts go to waste. Junior Li should know what I mean. Li Fuchen had about 100 plus kg of normal treasure fish and a few dozen kg of first-tier fish. If it was 1 gold per kg for a normal treasure fish and 10 gold per kg for a first-tier fish, he would need to spend at least a few hundred gold. If the price was increased by 20 times, it would be close to 10,000 gold. He didn't even have that much gold. Of course, even if he could afford it, he wouldn't spend so much gold. It wasn't worth it and wasn't necessary. Li Fuchen lifted his head. Senior Huang, what if I don't sell? Huang Shitian replied, I hope Junior Li will think twice before you act. Don't hurt the camaraderie between us. Some words have a price to pay. Chapter 41. Letting out a breath, Li Fuchen slowly said, These treasure fish, Junior needs them too, so I apologize. Huang Shitian's expression turned cold. Junior Li, since you insist on hurting our brotherhood, then don't blame me for being merciless. Piercing through the air, a giant fist was sent straight at Li Fuchen's face, overbearing and ruthless. Using his palm to counter the fist, Li Fuchen used a mountain-splitting palm to counter Huang Shitian's fist. Crackle! As the fist and palm met, the air exploded and the wind was oppressive. Huang Shitian took 3 steps back. Li Fuchen took 4 steps back. He actually blocked one of my punches. Huang Shitian squinted his eyes. At the age of 17 this year, he was at the late stage of the 7th level of the Qi realm. His Azure Water Sects entry technique, Purple Qi technique, was at the 5th rank. Normally speaking, a newcomer at the 6th level of the Qi realm like Li Fuchen wouldn't be able to withstand a single move from him. Take another punch from me. Huang Shitian's strength and Qi burst forth. His fist was like a rock falling from the sky, viciously crashing towards Li Fuchen. Sensing the dominance of Huang Shitian's fist, Li Fuchen didn't wish to clash head-on with his opponent. With a light tap of his feet, he soared into the sky as though he was weightless. In the next moment, the raindrop-like leg shadows poured down at Huang Shitian. Not good. Huang Shitian crossed his arms, trying his best to block. A kick landed on Huang Shitian's shoulder, sending him flying. No wonder he is a Tsang sect disciple. Li Fuchen's right hand was still feeling numb. Huang Shitian's ability was much stronger than he imagined. Had it not been for his red jade technique reaching the 7th rank, he would have needed at least 100 moves to defeat his opponent. His foundation isn't as strong as mine, but his combat ability is terrifying. After taking a kick from Li Fuchen, half of Huang Shitian's body was numb and his qi and blood were clogged. In the world of martial artists, a higher cultivation didn't necessarily equate to strength. Martial arts were used to defeat the strong or to suppress the weak. But martial arts are dead, humans are alive. Only by using martial arts can one exhibit the true potential of martial arts. It was obvious that Li Fuchen's leg arts had reached an extreme level. Senior Huang, pardon me. Li Fuchen brushed past the other party. Huang Shitian clutched his shoulder, his face pale. With his consciousness attached to the hook, the world under the lake seemed to be right in front of him. Soon enough, Li Fuchen's attention landed on a foot-long dark blue fish that was emitting traces of electric currents. This is a level 2 treasure fish, blue electric fish. Li Fuchen's eyes burst with radiance. A caddy of a first-tier treasure fish was worth 100 contribution points, and a caddy of a second-tier treasure fish was worth 1,000 contribution points. It was said that eating a second-tier treasure fish wouldn't be much less effective than soaking in the tempering pool. However, amongst the outer sect disciples, very few were able to catch a second-tier treasure fish. The last time someone managed to catch a second-tier treasure fish was 3 months ago. Carefully, Li Fuchen moved the hook to the side of the blue electric fish. The blue electric fish seemed to dislike the bait and did not bite immediately. Li Fuchen laughed bitterly. Second-tier treasure fish usually preferred bait that was at least second-tier. But second-tier bait was too expensive. A box of second-tier bait cost 50 gold coins, which was 10 times more expensive than gold. Li Fuchen didn't believe it and moved the hook to the mouth of the blue electric fish. Since it was still a first-tier bait, the blue electric fish reluctantly opened its mouth and prepared to swallow the bait. Due to the fast swallowing speed, Li Fuchen's hook didn't react at all. Luckily, Li Fuchen's consciousness was attached to the hook. The moment the blue electric fish swallowed the bait, Li Fuchen suddenly pulled the rod and hooked onto the mouth of the blue electric fish. The indescribable strength of the blue electric fish, Li Fuchen was almost pulled into the lake. I'm afraid it has the strength of 1,000 kilograms. Li Fuchen took a horse stance, leaned back, and pushed his strength and qi to the limit. Voila! The surface of the lake surged with waves, accompanied by the sizzling of the dark blue electric currents. What a huge commotion! Could he have caught another first-tier treasure fish? I'm afraid it isn't a small fish. Everyone's attention was attracted. Some even put down their fishing rods and walked behind Li Fuchen. Come up here. Under the two forces, the fishing rod bent into a crescent shape. This was an unprecedented situation, as Li Fuchen's fishing rod was a second-tier fishing rod, worth 3,000 gold coins. Rumble! The water exploded, as a foot-long dark blue fish broke out of the water and flew into the sky. Traces of electric currents came into contact with the air, letting out a crackling sound. Heavens, it's a blue electric fish. Heaven-defying, this is really heaven-defying. Could he be a fishing expert that never appeared before? Everyone was shocked, followed by heavy breaths. All of their eyes were bloodshot as they greedily stared at the blue electric fish in mid-air. Li Fuchen didn't bother about the people behind him, retracted his fishing rod and reached out to catch the blue electric fish. Crackle! With a flash of electric current, a hand grabbed the blue electric fish, but it wasn't Li Fuchen. It was a stalwart youth. Seemingly underestimating the electric current of the blue electric fish, the stalwart youth was electrocuted stiff, green smoke rising from his palm. Coldly glaring at the stalwart youth, Li Fuchen snatched the blue electric fish from the youth's hand. The blue electric fish was still struggling, but after leaving the lake, its strength was greatly reduced, and the electric current was depleted. How could it escape from Li Fuchen's grasp? Presumptuous! Recovering from the stiffness, the stalwart youth glared at Li Fuchen with murderous intent. Get lost! Li Fuchen didn't need to be courteous to people who took it for granted that they stole others' belongings. Looking for death, How dare you speak to Luo Shixiang in such a manner? The tanned youth beside the stalwart youth spoke. I don't know you guys, so please do not harass me. Throwing the blue electric fish into the specially made basket, Li Fuchen intended to leave. Trying to leave? Not so easy. The tanned youth reached out to grab Li Fuchen's shoulder. Li Fuchen's body swayed, dodging the grab of the tanned youth. He then leapt into the air and in one breath, delivered dozens of kicks at the tanned youth. With the power of a violent storm, many were shocked, thinking that Li Fuchen wasn't as simple as he looked. The tanned youth retreated again and again, his face flushed red. Just as he was about to reach the edge of the platform, the stalwart youth made his move. Just like Li Fuchen, the stalwart youth displayed his leg arts. If Li Fuchen's leg arts were like a violent storm, then the stalwart youth's leg arts were like a thunderbolt, violent to the extreme. With a sweep of his leg, the sky full of leg shadows dissipated. A chi force exploded, causing Li Fuchen to retreat a dozen steps. 8th level of the chi realm. Li Fuchen's expression turned serious. Standing in front of the tanned youth, the stalwart youth spoke word by word in a cold tone. You have two choices. First, hand over all your treasure fish. Second, let me beat you into a dead dog. These words were filled with killing intent. No one doubted that the stalwart youth was serious. This newcomer is going to be unlucky. Luo Kai is at the 8th level of the Qi realm. 3 months ago, he defeated a senior who was at the 9th level of the Qi realm. Men die for wealth, birds die for food. I don't think this junior is easy to deal with. Everyone spread out, leaving a large space for the two of them. Chapter 42. His strength is close to twice mine. If I go head-on, I will definitely lose. Had it been a regular 8th level Qi realm martial artist, Li Fuchen could have easily defeated him. But of the Tsanglan sect's 8th level Qi realm martial artists, which one of them wasn't a prodigy, a dragon or phoenix amongst men? Wanting to jump levels and defeat them was fraught with difficulties. Don't even mention 2 levels. Even in the Tsanglan sect, a single level was already a chasm. But Li Fuchen was very confident in his actual combat ability. Even though Luo Kai was strong, it was impossible for him to surrender without putting up a fight. You have some ability, no wonder you dare to be arrogant in front of me, Luo Kai. Seeing that you are a newcomer, I will not pursue your offense. As long as you hand over all your treasure fish, we can be friends. Luo Kai frowned. He didn't care about the current Li Fuchen, but the future Li Fuchen would definitely be a formidable foe. After all, he had been in the Tsanglan sect for over 2 years, while Li Fuchen had only been here for a month. If it was possible, he didn't want to be enemies with Li Fuchen. But the treasure fish must be in his hands. Trying to steal my treasure fish and still want to be friends with me? Do you think you have that much face? Li Fuchen sneered. If that's the case, you aren't giving me any face. Luo Kai didn't want to waste time with Li Fuchen. He moved his body and launched an attack. He knew all newcomers had the same problem. When they first entered the sect, they would all be extremely arrogant. If he didn't teach them a lesson, they wouldn't know that there is always someone better out there. Tearing the air apart, Luo Kai swept his leg at Li Fuchen. The ferocious force felt like it could split a mountain. Air Rend Kick, the Luo clan's mid-tier, yellow class kick art. With Luo Kai's 8th level Qi realm cultivation, a single kick could even break a giant boulder. So, Li Fuchen bounced away as if he was weightless, dodging Luo Kai's kick. Luo Kai continued to attack with ferocious vigor. Li Fuchen adopted a guerrilla style of combat. For a martial art, the completion stage wasn't the end. There were differences in the completion stage too. The initial completion stage was the sub-perfection stage, followed by the perfection stage, and finally the trance stage. Li Fuchen had already cultivated the whirlwind leg to the perfection stage. His movements were abnormally fast and his steps were like a shooting star. A regular person wouldn't even be able to touch his dust. With a fast movement technique, Li Fuchen roamed around Luo Kai and launched a fierce attack from time to time, giving people a feeling of not moving but amazing. Luo Kai felt a little impatient after failing to defeat it for a long time. Eat my sword. Drawing the sect-issued wooden sword, Luo Kai brandished it and a row of sword shadows shrouded Li Fuchen. Cloud Shifting Sword Art, High-Tier Yellow Class Sword Art. Break! Li Fuchen drew his wooden sword and thrusted it forward. But when the two swords collided, Luo Kai's wooden sword paused, revealing a flaw. Li Fuchen's eyes flashed like lightning. The wooden sword slashed at Luo Kai's chest. Scram! The wooden sword in Luo Kai's hand spun and deflected Li Fuchen's wooden sword. Incredible! Li Fuchen didn't clash head-on with Luo Kai earlier, but used a subtle suction force to grab onto Luo Kai's wooden sword for a split second. He intended to use this flaw to defeat Luo Kai in a single blade, but didn't expect Luo Kai to react so quickly and easily resolve the crisis. Like flowing water. Luo Kai was at the 8th level of the Qi realm and had already cultivated the Cloud Shifting Sword art to subcompletion. With a move like flowing water, the sword shadows were endless. Can't block it? This was the first time Li Fuchen felt strenuous. Even though his combat ability was high, he couldn't defeat his opponent in a single blade. In order to defeat his opponent in a single blade, one must first have absolute insight and speed. He had insight, but speed came from his physical fitness and Qi cultivation, both of which he was at a disadvantage. If he couldn't defeat his opponent in a single blade, his wooden sword would inevitably come into contact with his opponent's wooden sword. Once they came into contact, his sword force would instantly crumble. Even though he used a subtle suction force to deal with his opponent, as time went on, Li Fuchen's right arm still felt numb. This can't go on. Li Fuchen took a deep breath and with a twist of his body, he instantly appeared on the left side of Luo Kai. Clear Breeze Blade. Li Fuchen thrusted at Luo Kai. This sword was incomparably fast, incomparably graceful, like the wind, formless and omnipresent. Against this blade, Luo Kai clenched his left fist and punched at the wooden sword. Luo Kai cultivated the Zhanglan sect's entry technique, the White Wave technique, which was at the 6th rank. It was slightly stronger than Li Fuchen's Red Jade technique. With a single punch, Li Fuchen was sent flying along with his sword. Without waiting for Li Fuchen to land, Luo Kai took the initiative and chased after him, brandishing his wooden sword repeatedly. Kill of Red Jade. Right at this moment, Li Fuchen's body came to a halt in midair. At the same time, the wooden sword in his hand was brandished at an extreme speed. The terror of this blade was indescribable. This blade seemed to have caused the air to freeze and an invisible ripple spread out. Red Jade sword style, second move, Kill of Red Jade. Break for me. Revolving the purple Qi technique to the limit, Luo Kai swung his wooden sword horizontally and executed the toppling C. Boom. Li Fuchen was sent flying again, spitting out a small mouthful of fresh blood. Luo Kai didn't fare any better either. With a stab to the chest, he staggered backwards with a trail of blood at the edge of his mouth. Luo Kai is injured? This new junior brother is too strong. He's only at the 6th level of the Qi realm and he's already this strong. If we wait until he breaks through to the 7th or 8th level of the Qi realm, he'll be even stronger. It's better not to provoke him. Everyone took in a deep cold breath and looked at each other. Originally they had some thoughts, but now they were all gone. It wasn't because of Li Fuchen's ability, but his potential. Within the sect, it was common for people to settle scores after the fall. Some disciples were bullied when their cultivation was low. But once their cultivation caught up, they would retaliate against those who bullied them, and it would be several times the amount. Within the sect, there was a saying, life is full of ups and downs, don't bully the weak. Good, very good. You actually managed to injure me. But I will not give you another chance. Revolving the White Wave technique to the limit, Luo Kai's Qi presence surged. Unsure if it was an illusion, Li Fuchen could feel traces of light blue Qi on the wooden sword in Luo Kai's hand. Qi manifestation. Li Fuchen's eyes widened. Luo Kai was at the 8th level of the Qi realm. Normally, he wouldn't be able to manifest his true Qi, but with the White Wave technique at the 6th level, he was able to manifest his true Qi. It was just that he did not know how much of an effect these wisps of Zhen Qi would have. Defeat. Luo Kai brandished his sword and exploded with a thunderous sound. As soon as Li Fuchen's wooden sword came into contact with his opponent's wooden sword, a domineering force was transmitted from the wooden sword to his body. Li Fuchen felt as though he was struck by lightning and spat out a small mouthful of blood. If that is the case, don't blame me. Li Fuchen's eyes flashed with a tyrannical light. Revolving the 7th rank red jade technique, a large amount of qi flowed into the wooden sword and he thrust it forward. Halfway through the thrust, the sword suddenly vanished, as though it entered another world. Chapter 43. Luo Kai's eyes widened, unable to react in time. The wooden sword appeared and pierced into Luo Kai's chest, causing blood to spurt out. What sword move is this? Luo Kai couldn't even react in time? What a fearsome sword move, what a fearsome newcomer. Everyone was stunned. They thought Luo Kai was going to defeat Li Fuchen, but didn't expect the tables to turn. How is this possible? Luo Kai looked at Li Fuchen with disbelief. You are lucky. I just arrived at the Zhanglan sect for a month and didn't want to cause any trouble. If not, this wouldn't have ended so easily. Li Fuchen's motto was not to cause trouble, but he wasn't afraid either. How did you do it? Luo Kai asked in a low voice. You don't have to know. Pulling out the wooden sword, Li Fuchen turned and left. After losing to Li Fuchen, Luo Kai didn't have the face to stay any longer and left the fishing platform on the same day. Li Fuchen thought for a moment and decided to leave the fishing platform as well. As the saying goes, do not have the heart to harm others, but guard against others. Li Fuchen was worried that Luo Kai would expose his whereabouts. It was extremely difficult for an outer sect disciple to earn contribution points. If anyone knew that he had over 10,000 contribution points worth of treasure fish, they would definitely come to rob him. With Li Fuchen's current ability, he wasn't even ranked amongst the outer sect disciples. Any strong outer sect disciple could easily crush him. Before coming here, he came empty-handed. Now that he was back, Li Fuchen was carrying a large fish basket. The fish basket contained 200 kilograms of normal treasure fish, a few dozen kg of first-tier treasure fish, and 10 kilograms of second-tier treasure fish. If converted into contribution points, it would be 10,000 to a few thousand. This was an incomparably terrifying number. One had to know that even outer sect elders would need a long time to earn more than 10,000 contribution points. 10,000 contribution points was enough to redeem a mystic-class martial art. Carrying 200 kilograms of treasure fish, Li Fuchen's speed was much slower. He took 5 days to return to the Zhanglan sect. Of course, he intentionally took a detour in the middle of the journey, afraid of being intercepted. He must be carrying a bunch of treasure fish on his back. Senior brother Luo was right. This person's talent for fishing is astonishing. In half a month, he managed to catch 1 to 200 pounds of treasure fish. Among them, there was no lack of first-tier fish, and there was even a second-tier fish. Do you guys think that he sensed something? Otherwise, why would he return so early? I heard that there are plenty of seniors who have left the Azure Water sect and are preparing to intercept him along the way. So cautious. Looks like it won't be easy to deal with him. Just as Li Fuchen returned to the outer sect disciple region, there were plenty of outer sect disciples pointing at him with looks of envy and jealousy. As expected, Li Fuchen's expression was cold. He had overestimated Luo Kai's bottom line. If it weren't for his cautious nature, the treasured fish in his basket would have long since been stolen by others. Luo Kai, I will remember this debt. Li Fuchen blacklisted Luo Kai. Quickening his pace, Li Fuchen headed towards the mission hall. Give me the fish basket and I will spare your dog life. A figure stopped Li Fuchen. It's senior brother Zhou Huailong. He's going to be in trouble this time. Senior brother Zhou Huailong is a 9th level Qi realm warrior. The outer sect disciples were happy to watch a good show and whisper to each other. There was no lack of schadenfreude. Li Fuchen, a new outer sect disciple, was able to obtain 20,000 contribution points in a short period of time. This made them unhappy. Since they didn't have the means to obtain so many contribution points, they didn't want Li Fuchen to either. It's Li Fuchen. Within the crowd, Zhu Hongxiu, He Pingxian, Tu Ju, and Guan Peng were also present. The one who caught so many treasured fish is actually him. Shen Tu Ju raised his eyebrows, feeling unsatisfied. Guan Peng sneered. Senior Zhou Huailong is at the 9th level of the Qi realm. His treasured fish cannot be kept. That should be the case. Shen Tu Ju nodded. This person is the center of attention wherever he goes. Zhu Hongxiu shook her head, feeling a little worried for Li Fuchen. Sizing up Zhou Huailong, he asked, "This is the Azure Water sect, what do you want?" "I will say it again, hand over the fish basket." Zhou Huailong said with disdain. "Impossible." Li Fuchen flatly rejected. Courting death. Zhou Huailong raised his right hand and a black qi enveloped his palm. Qi manifestation. As a 9th level Qi realm martial artist, Zhou Huailong could already envelop his palm with qi, greatly increasing his lethality. It wasn't something that a dabbler like Luo Kai could compare with. The sound of air being torn could be heard as Zhou Huailong sent a punch at Li Fuchen. Zhou Huailong's speed was too fast. Li Fuchen's mind could react, but his body couldn't and could only raise his arm. As if struck by a metal pillar, Li Fuchen's left arm was twisted in a weird way. The bones within were forcefully broken and a strong qi force rushed into Li Fuchen's body, causing him to vomit a large mouthful of blood. One punch. Li Fuchen suffered a serious injury. "If this wasn't the Azure Water sect, I would have beaten you to death and fed you to the dogs," Zhou Huailong said with contempt. Struggling to get up from the ground, Li Fuchen spoke in a low voice. "This punch, I will remember it." "What? You still want revenge? See if I don't cripple you." Zhou Huailong was enraged. With a flash of his body, he prepared to attack again. "What are you doing?" A loud roar could be heard, causing the air to vibrate. "Elder Qin." Everyone looked towards the direction of the voice and greeted respectfully. The person who came was the outer sect elder, Qin Zongming. He walked over unhurriedly and sized up Li Fuchen and Zhou Huailong. He snorted, "Zhou Huailong, behave yourself. This isn't your home." "Elder Qin," this junior here spoke rudely. "I was just teaching him a lesson." Zhou Huailong wasn't too fearful of Qin Zongming. Of course, he didn't dare to offend Qin Zongming either. "Since you have taught him a lesson, why aren't you leaving? Do you want to go to the enforcement hall?" "Yes, I will leave now." Before leaving, Zhou Huailong gave Li Fuchen a fierce stare. "Disperse." Qin Zongming waved his hand. After everyone left, Qin Zongming said to Li Fuchen, "This is the sect. Even though there are rules, but ability is more important. Work hard." Patting on Li Fuchen's shoulder, Qin Zongming turned and left. "Elder Qin, many thanks." Li Fuchen was grateful to Qin Zongming. It didn't matter if it was his duty or not, Li Fuchen would remember this favor and repay it tenfold in the future. With a severely injured body, Li Fuchen arduously made his way to the mission hall. Exhaling a deep breath, Li Fuchen thought to himself, "I am still too weak now. If I don't want to be bullied, I have to constantly get stronger. These contribution points are my chance to get stronger quickly." Before coming to the Zhanglan sect, Li Fuchen thought that the Zhanglan sect had strict rules. But reality told him that rules weren't that reliable. Personal ability was the most reliable. "I want to submit my mission." Li Fuchen placed the fish basket on the mission counter. When the elder opened the fish basket, he was stunned. "So many treasure fish, were they all caught by you?" The mission elder inquired. Li Fuchen replied, "Elder, is this related?" Chapter 44. Normal treasure fish, 160 kilograms, first tier treasure fish, 46 kilograms, second tier treasure fish, 9 kilograms. A total of 16,000 contribution points. The task elder took a deep breath and spoke. 16,000 contribution points. If it was him, he would need at least a year to gather such a sum. "Thank you, elder." Giving a bow to the task elder, Li Fuchen left the task hall. Instead of redeeming a body refinement technique, Li Fuchen went to the resource hall to purchase some recuperation pills to treat his injuries. With the help of the recuperation pills, Li Fuchen's injuries were fully healed within 3 days. The bones in his left forearm were also reconnected. Of course, he couldn't use too much force yet, or else the bones would break again. On this day, Li Fuchen arrived at the Outer Sect Martial Arts Hall. The highest-ranked martial arts manuals here were Peak Tier, Yellow Class. As for Mystic Class martial arts, he would have to redeem them at the Inner Sect. With a cursory glance, Li Fuchen walked past the rows of bookshelves. He found out that low-tier, Yellow Class manuals required at least 30 contribution points. Mid-tier, Yellow Class manuals required at least 100 contribution points. High-tier, Yellow Class manuals required at least 300 contribution points. As for Peak-tier, Yellow Class manuals, they required at least 1,000 contribution points. After some effort, Li Fuchen finally found the bookshelf with Peak-tier, Yellow Class Body Refinement Technique manuals. Tiger Demon Body Refinement Technique, 4,000 contribution points. Steel Clothed Shirt, 3,000 contribution points. Golden Bell Canopy, 3,500 contribution points. 7-Star Forged Body, 4,500 contribution points. Crimson Battle Form, 5,000 contribution points. Scanning through the various body refinement techniques, Li Fuchen frowned. Body refinement techniques were too expensive, several folds more expensive than regular peak-tier, Yellow Class martial arts. What Li Fuchen didn't know was that at the same tier, cultivation techniques were much more expensive than martial arts. I shall choose the Crimson Battle form. Either choose nothing or choose the best. This was Li Fuchen's motto. The manuals on the bookshelves were all empty shells, with only an introduction and no content. Li Fuchen needed to redeem a copy from the martial arts hall elder. You better choose another body refinement technique. This Crimson Battle form, in the entire outer sect, only a few people managed to cultivate it, and they all gave up afterwards. In the past decade, there were only 3 disciples who managed to cultivate the Crimson Battle form to the highest rank. Do not bite off more than you can chew. When the martial hall elder heard that Li Fuchen wanted to redeem the Crimson Battle form, he shook his head and advised. Crimson Battle form is so hard to train? Li Fuchen asked. The Iron-Clothed Shirt is trained to the highest level, and the Golden Bell Shield is almost the same. The Demon Tiger Body Refinement Art is around 2,500 gene, and the 7-Star Body Refinement Art is around 1,500 gene. However, the Crimson Battle form is trained to the highest level, and the body is almost invulnerable. It is almost comparable to a low-tier Xuanji Body Refinement Art, so it is normal for it to be a little difficult to train. Apart from that, the Crimson Battle form has a very high requirement for willpower, and very few people can endure it. Since it's hard, I'll choose Crimson Battle form. Li Fuchen didn't intend to give up. Forget it, I'm just giving you a piece of advice. It's up to you whether you want to listen or not. The martial hall elder shook his head. Many of the outer sect disciples who chose the Crimson Battle form were full of confidence that they could break the record. But if a record was so easily broken, it wouldn't be a record anymore. After obtaining the Crimson Battle form, Li Fuchen left in a hurry and headed towards the resource hall. To cultivate a body refinement technique, it required a large amount of body tempering resources, or else it would be the end of one's life. Fortunately, with 11,000 contribution points, Li Fuchen didn't need to worry about the lack of resources. Body tempering pills cost 500 gold coins per pill, which was 250 contribution points. Li Fuchen redeemed 20 pills in one go. I wonder how hard it is to cultivate the Crimson Battle form. With everything prepared, Li Fuchen began the first step of cultivation. Just like what the martial hall elder said, the Crimson Battle form was indeed hard to cultivate. The Crimson Battle form was separated into 3 ranks. First rank completion would allow the user to have 1,000 kilograms of physical strength. Second rank completion would allow the user to have 3,000 kilograms of physical strength. Third rank completion would allow the user to have 5,000 kilograms of physical strength. The first rank required one to cultivate both the inner and outer body. Internally, it was the circulation of qi and blood. Externally, it was the use of hard objects to hit the body. As a first-grade outer sect disciple, Li Fuchen had the privilege to ask the odd-job disciples to do things for him. As for the rewards, it was entirely up to the disciple. Peng 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 peng. In the yard, Li Fuchen's upper body was bare and his lower body was only wearing a pair of shorts. Two odd-job disciples stood at the front and back, using wooden rods to whip Li Fuchen's body, leaving red marks on his body. 2 hours later, Li Fuchen's entire body was in pain from swelling, aching, and stinging. The intense pain caused his entire body to break out in cold sweat and his face to turn pale. "All right, you two can go back and come back tomorrow." After getting the two odd-job disciples to leave, Li Fuchen entered the house and started circulating his qi and blood according to the first rank of the Crimson Battle form. After circulating his qi and blood for a dozen times, Li Fuchen consumed a body-tempering pill. The body-tempering pill melted in his mouth and started to nourish Li Fuchen's body. After circulating his qi and blood for 36 times, Li Fuchen noticed that the bones in his left arm were almost completely healed. Before cultivating the Crimson Battle form, the effects of the body-tempering pill gradually weakened. But now, the effects of the body-tempering pill was once again at its peak. The human body has its limits, but a body refinement technique can allow a person to break through their limits, and it is a huge breakthrough. For the next few days, Li Fuchen went through the same torment of body refinement every day. 1 week later, Li Fuchen's physical strength reached an astounding 750 kilograms. But at this time, Li Fuchen was at a bottleneck. The qi and blood circulation method differed from person to person. The Crimson Battle form only served as a guide. Whether or not one could cultivate it depended on the individual's perception, willpower, and fate. Fortunately, Li Fuchen wasn't lacking in any of these three aspects. 3 days later, Li Fuchen broke through this bottleneck and also broke through the limits of his physical strength. His physical strength continued to rise. 800 kilograms. 850 kilograms. 900 kilograms. The further he went, the more impatient Li Fuchen felt. It was hard for him to calm down and cultivate, as if there was an invisible force that was disturbing him. Sometimes, his qi and blood would even go berserk, causing Li Fuchen's heart to develop violent emotions. Sometimes, Li Fuchen's lower body would get erect for no reason and overflow with desire. In the end, Li Fuchen endured it all. 920 kilograms. 950 kilograms. 970 kilograms. 990 kilograms. On this day, Li Fuchen's entire body was crimson red, as if he was being boiled. His entire body was steaming hot. This was due to the intense qi and blood circulation. With a loud roar, Li Fuchen's body could vaguely hear the sound of something exploding. In the next moment, the crimson red on Li Fuchen's body slowly receded and his bloodshot eyes gradually returned to normal. No wonder the Crimson Battle form is so hard to cultivate. It actually requires one to endure so many negative emotions. Those with a weak willpower would definitely break through. During the cultivation process, once one breaks through, it would be several times harder to continue cultivating. Thinking up to here, Li Fuchen couldn't help but envy Yang Kai and the others. These people only soaked in the tempering pool for a short while and already had a physical strength of 1,000 kilograms without any setbacks. Chapter 45. With his strength reaching 1,000 kilograms, Li Fuchen could feel his skin getting tighter. His muscles felt as hard as a rock. In addition, from the shallow footprints in the yard, Li Fuchen estimated that his weight had increased by a few kilograms. At the later stages of body refinement, would my weight be 10 times that of a normal person? Li Fuchen was curious about this question. He felt that this was a very likely possibility. The reason why the human body had its limits was because the human body was too fragile and couldn't withstand too much force. But if the body refinement technique was used to modify the body would be able to withstand even more force, just like demonic beasts. With the first rank of the Crimson Battle form at completion, Li Fuchen tried to cultivate the second rank. The second rank's qi circulation technique was much more complicated than the first rank. A slight mistake could easily cause the qi to collapse. Thus, every circulation of qi had to be done meticulously and without the slightest bit of carelessness. In addition, The body-tempering pill had to be able to keep up. The most important thing was to be able to withstand intense pain. To cultivate the second rank, one needed to be immersed in boiling water. Without the use of qi, the human body was still made of flesh and blood and couldn't withstand the pain of being boiled. This required a strong will. A large cauldron was set up in the yard. Underneath the cauldron was a pile of lumber that was as thick as an arm. The cauldron was filled with water. Li Fuchen sat within, leaving only his head outside. Gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. Under the heat of the flame, the water in the cauldron gradually boiled. Li Fuchen's skin was like a cooked prawn, flushed red, and his face twitched constantly. It was too painful, as though his entire body was on fire. There were a few times when he thought of giving up. But in the end he persevered. Only those who suffered the most hardship could rise above the rest. This was an ancient saying. If he couldn't even endure this little bit of hardship, he would definitely regret it in the future. Enduring the pain, Li Fuchen circulated his qi again and again, trying to alleviate the pain with his qi. Finally, an hour had passed. Bang! Using both hands, Li Fuchen jumped out of the cauldron. One could see that Li Fuchen's skin was covered with dense blisters. It was as though a layer of his skin had been scalded off. The unbearable pain was indescribable. Had it not been for the pain of soul-spirit dissipation, Li Fuchen wouldn't have been able to endure it. Covered in blisters, Li Fuchen couldn't even sit, stand, or lie down. Not caring much, Li Fuchen got into a stance and executed the fist art, Crimson Battle Form, Crimson Battle Fist. The Crimson War Fist allowed one to exercise all the bones and muscles in the body, and this was not something that could be achieved by just circulating one's qi and blood. In the evening, the blisters on Li Fuchen's body turned into dead skin and fell off. In addition to leaving a faint scar, there was no trace of a burn. Cultivating sword arts in the morning, diligently cultivating the Scarlet Fire technique in the afternoon, diligently cultivating the Crimson Battle Form in the afternoon, and soaking in medicinal liquors at night. Li Fuchen lived every day to the fullest. Bit by bit, the bitterness and pain turned into the foundation. On the 5th day of cultivating the second rank of the Crimson Battle Form, Li Fuchen's body emitted a crackling sound. Every inch of his flesh and every inch of his bones was transforming. Leaping out of the cauldron, Li Fuchen grabbed a 500 kilograms rock and lifted it effortlessly. This meant that Li Fuchen's physical strength had exceeded 500 kilograms and officially attained the second rank of the Crimson Battle Form. But there was still a long way to go before the completion stage of the second rank, and Li Fuchen's body-tempering pills were all used up. In for a penny, in for a pound. Li Fuchen redeemed his remaining 6,000 contribution points for body-tempering pills. A total of 24 pills. On average, he consumed 3 pills a day. 8 days later, Li Fuchen's body-tempering pills were all used up again. Right now, Li Fuchen could easily lift a 1,500 kilograms boulder and create a small pit in the ground with a single punch. His skin and muscles were abnormally tight. A few hundred kg of force hitting his body didn't even feel a thing. I have no more contribution points and body-tempering pills. I have to think of something. At this stage, Li Fuchen couldn't go fishing for treasure fish at Songlan Lake. He was sure that there would be many eyes on him and he didn't want to do anything for others. Maybe I can go to the Or Mountains to look for ores. The Songlan Mountains was a mountain range that was rich in resources and had countless Or Mountains. Or Mountains produced metallic ores. According to their grades, metallic ores were divided into yellow-class ores, mystic-class ores, earth-class ores, etc. Just like the iron used to forge steel swords, it was smelted from the yellow-class, mid-tier, fine iron ore. Just like treasure fish, metallic ores were sold according to their weight. Yellow-class, low-tier ores were worth 1 to 3 points per kg. Yellow-class, mid-tier ores were worth 5 to 10 points per kg. Yellow-class, high-tier ores were worth 15 to 30 points per kg. Yellow-class, peak-tier ores were worth 50 to 100 points per kg. As for mystic-class and earth-class ores, they were extremely rare and couldn't be easily found. There was once an outer sect disciple who found a 1 kilogram mystic-class, peak-tier ore and received 50,000 contribution points. Kengchang Mountain, an abandoned large-scale or mountain in the Zhonglan Mountains. When Li Fuchen arrived, it was already the afternoon of the third day. The Kengchang Mountain was covered in ruins. Under the illumination of the sun, it gave off a layer of pale metallic luster. Maybe it was because the rocks were too hard, the vegetation here was sparse and the vitality was dim. Kengchang Mountain is one of the largest abandoned or mountains. There should be quite a number of ores missing. Taking a glance at Kengchang Mountain, Li Fuchen nodded to himself. Within the Zhonglan Mountains, only abandoned or mountains allowed outer sect disciples to search for ores. Those that were still mining were forbidden to enter. So searching for ores was a job that was left behind. Kengchang Mountain might be called a mountain, but it was actually a combination of several large mountains and dozens of smaller mountains. The valleys between the mountains were intricate and complicated. Those who weren't familiar with the routes could easily get lost. Following a valley, Li Fuchen entered Kengchang Mountain. There really are ores here. After a few steps, Li Fuchen found a piece of pig iron ore. This was a yellow class, low-tier ore and was worth 1 contribution point per kg. Playing with it in his hand, Li Fuchen threw it away. Pig iron ores weren't worth much, unless it was a few hundred to 1,000 kg. The deeper they went into Kengchang Mountain, the more ores there were. Many of them had fallen from the mountain walls. After all, Kengchang Mountain had been mined for decades, and cracks had appeared in many places. Under the erosion of the natural environment, collapses were a very common thing. Perhaps it was because Kengchang Mountain was too gloomy, Li Fuchen didn't see many outer sect disciples. It's a snow-silver ore. Arriving at a dark and towering valley, Li Fuchen took a quick glance and found a piece of dark silver ore. Snow-silver ore, yellow class, high-tier ore. 5 kilograms was worth 20 contribution points and this piece was around 4 to 5 kilograms. Subconsciously, Li Fuchen lifted his head and looked at the mountain walls on both sides of the valley. Soon enough, Li Fuchen found a fresh spot on the left side of the mountain wall that was tens of meters high. Chapter 46. Putting down the basket on his back, Li Fuchen leaped into the air like a gecko and sucked on the cliff. Before arriving at the Zhonglan sect, Li Fuchen memorized the Li clan's high-tier, yellow class, red jade palm. After a period of cultivation, it was already at sub-completion. The red jade palm was the same as the red jade sword style. The first move was called Touch of Red Jade, which produced a suction force. The higher the cultivation and the higher the rank of the palm technique, the stronger the suction force. Li Fuchen could now easily suck in a few hundred kg of items. Using the suction force to climb the cliff wasn't a problem at all. Soon enough, Li Fuchen climbed to a fresh spot on the cliff. This area had clearly collapsed and fractured. The broken rocks and the snow-silver ore should have fallen from here. Taking a deep breath, Li Fuchen pressed his right hand and injected his qi into it. As time elapsed, Li Fuchen's soul spirit was now 80% green. With an increase in perception, Li Fuchen's consciousness became more condensed and could be attached to his qi and extended outwards. When fishing for treasure fish, Li Fuchen relied on this move to catch plenty of them. With his qi injected into the cliff, Li Fuchen's consciousness saw the situation within. Suddenly, a dark silver glow filled his consciousness. Revealing a smile, Li Fuchen increased the suction force on his left hand and slammed on the cliff with his right hand. Crackle! Li Fuchen's palm strike was so strong that a crack appeared on the cliff. Following which, the cracked rock started to fall, revealing the dark silver ore within. As expected, Li Fuchen's eyes lit up. He wasn't sure if there was a snow-silver ore here, but he didn't want to let go of any opportunities. He didn't expect his luck to be this good, finding a large amount of snow-silver ore on his first try. Taking out the steel shovel, Li Fuchen began to excavate the snow-silver ore. The steel shovel was at least a few dozen kg. With Li Fuchen's 1,500 kilograms of physical strength and his valiant qi, it was like a godly weapon. Like digging tofu, he easily dug a hole on the cliff. Inside the hole, a snow-silver ore the size of a water tank appeared in front of his eyes. At least 3,000 kilograms. Li Fuchen's breathing hastened. The snow silver ore was worth 20 contribution points per kg. 3,000 kilograms would be 60,000 points and 4,000 kilograms would be 80,000 points. This much snow silver ore is too eye-catching. People will definitely try to steal it on the road. I have to split it up and bring it back in small pieces. Li Fuchen expanded the pit to a height of 2 meters and width of a few meters. He then drew his steel sword and sliced off 20% of the snow silver ore. He lifted it up and shook it. It weighed about 7 or 800 jin. I hope we won't be discovered here. Pushing the snow silver ore out of the pit, Li Fuchen slid down the mountain wall. He raised his head to take a look. The hole was blocked by a protrusion, and it wasn't very obvious. After a closer look, he discovered a small hole. The fate of life is really incredible. Placing the snow silver ore into the basket, Li Fuchen sighed. The fact that he was able to find such a large piece of snow silver ore was partly due to luck, but it was also due to his own fate. Fortunately, he found a small piece of snow silver ore that had fallen not long ago. Had it not been for the golden amulet, his soul spirit wouldn't have evolved and his mind wouldn't be this agile. Even if he found a small piece of snow silver ore, he wouldn't have thought that there might be more on the mountain wall. Apart from that, without the golden amulet, he wouldn't have been able to master the red jade palm in such a short period of time. Naturally, he wouldn't have been able to climb up the mountain wall that was a few dozen meters high. Fate was like the most primordial force. Pulling a hair would trigger the entire body and completely change one's fate. Carrying the snow silver ore, Li Fuchen walked out of Kengchang Mountain. Along the way, many outer sect disciples cast curious glances at Li Fuchen. Based on the footprints, they knew that Li Fuchen's basket contained something heavy. This shitty, your harvest isn't bad. Can I take a look? An outer sect disciple with a strong chi presence walked over and raised his eyebrows. Li Fuchen stopped. You want to take a look? Sure. Finishing his sentence, Li Fuchen took off the cloth covering the basket. The outer sect disciple went over to take a look. It was filled with raw iron ores. Some were the size of chicken eggs, some were the size of a fist, all piled up high. Raw iron ores. Not bad. The outer sect disciple had a flash of disappointment on his face. Raw iron ores cost 1 contribution point per kg. Even if it was 1,000 kilograms, it would only be 1,000 points. To offend an outer sect disciple that shouldn't be trifled with just for 1,000 points, it wasn't worth it. Who knows what price he would have to pay in the future? Just like that, Li Fuchen arrived at the Zhonglan sect's mission hall. Snow silver ore? The mission elders sized up Li Fuchen. This outer sect disciple wasn't simple. Previously it was a treasure fish worth over 10,000 points, now it was a snow silver ore worth over 10,000 points. He didn't think Li Fuchen was just lucky. After tallying the items, the mission elder said, 100 kilograms of raw iron ores is worth 100 points. 780 kilograms of snow silver ore is worth 15,600 points. A total of 15,700 points. Even though Li Fuchen knew that his harvest this time was around 15,000 points, but when he saw that he had an additional 15,700 points under his name, Li Fuchen was still excited. In for a penny, in for a pound. After leaving the mission hall, Li Fuchen headed towards Kengchang Mountain again. A few days later, he returned with a snow silver ore that weighed close to 1,000 kilograms. But on the way back, Li Fuchen met with some problems. 2 8th level Chi Realm outer sect disciples suspected that there were other ores in his basket and wanted to rob him of his harvest. Without a choice, Li Fuchen defeated the two of them with lightning speed. With his physical strength increasing from 250 kilograms to 1,500 kilograms, Li Fuchen's combat ability increased by a lot. He was confident that if he were to meet Zhou Huailong again, he wouldn't be severely injured in a single move. If he were to meet Luo Kai again, Li Fuchen could easily crush him. 50 kilograms of raw iron ores, 950 kilograms of snow silver ore. A total of 19,050 points. The mission elder was dumbfounded. He suspected that Li Fuchen found a huge pile of snow silver ore and brought it back with him every time. Li Fuchen, tell me the truth. Did you find a lot of snow silver or? The mission elder questioned. Li Fuchen's eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. He shook his head. I did find a lot of snow silver ore, but it's all here. Really? The mission elder examined Li Fuchen, trying to see if he was speaking the truth or not. Li Fuchen remained calm and didn't show any signs of abnormality. All right, you can go now. The mission elder said with an emotionless face. Leaving the mission hall, Li Fuchen let out a breath of relief. Seems like I can't go back to Qingchang Mountain for the time being. I need to keep a low profile for a period of time. With 34,750 contribution points, Li Fuchen was much more confident. Without any hesitation, he used all his contribution points to redeem a total of 139 body-tempering pills in one go. Chapter 47. Time flowed like water. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. In the yard, Li Fuchen exerted strength in both his arms, lifting up a 3,000 kilograms boulder. He was only wearing a pair of shorts. His skin was as smooth as silk, tough and dense, as if it could not be cut by a sword. His slightly immature body had well-defined muscles. He did not look like a 14-year-old boy, but more like a 16-year-old boy. Boom. Putting down the boulder, Li Fuchen didn't even blush or pant. A small human body with 3,000 kilograms of physical strength was extremely terrifying. It was a known fact that Li Fuchen only weighed 65 kilograms. Every kilogram of flesh and blood could produce an average of 20 kilograms of strength. Split. Using his arm like a blade, Li Fuchen sliced off a large chunk of the boulder cleanly. 3,000 kilograms of physical strength sure is terrifying. With the second rank of the Crimson Battle form at completion, Li Fuchen felt an endless amount of energy within his body. Concentrating his energy and exhaling, his breath was like an arrow, able to shoot down leaves from a dozen meters away. With a single punch, an ear-piercing sound could be heard. The air around the fist was compressed by the fist, causing a loud bang as it ruthlessly smashed onto a boulder a few meters away. Other than the increase in physical strength, the biggest change to Li Fuchen was the change in the density of his skin. The current Li Fuchen felt that his skin wasn't like human skin, but demonic beast skin. It was unimaginably tough, and the meat inside was demonic beast meat. Every inch of his flesh contained a huge amount of strength. When soft, it was weak, but when hard, it was comparable to the hardest rock. Li Fuchen tested it before. Even when a few thousand kg of force hit his body, he didn't feel anything. It was just like a massage. Of course, it had to be the strength of a fist or palm. If a few thousand kg of force was used on a sharp blade, it could still pierce through his body. Even though Li Fuchen spent most of his time on the Crimson Battle form, he didn't give up on other aspects of his cultivation. Just a week ago, Li Fuchen successfully broke through to the 7th level of the Qi realm. The higher the Qi realm, the harder it was to progress. According to the Zhanglan sect's rules, if one couldn't break through to the origin realm before the age of 20, they would be demoted to an outer sect deacon apprentice. Every year, hundreds of Zhanglan sect disciples would be demoted to an outer sect deacon apprentice because they couldn't break through to the origin realm within the stipulated time. Li Fuchen wasn't worried about this problem. After all, he was only 14 years old. But to break through to the origin realm earlier was everyone's dream. It is said that the earlier the breakthrough, the smoother the process of breaking through the Earth realm in the future, and after the Earth realm there is the Heavenly Dipper realm, and after the Heavenly Dipper realm there is the Shedding Body realm. Every major realm was a huge barrier, and each barrier was harder than the one before. Breaking through the first checkpoint was already extremely difficult. Wanting to break through the second checkpoint was basically impossible, unless there was some kind of heavenly opportunity. It's time to be a little more reckless. With the breakthrough in both strength and cultivation, Li Fuchen had a certain amount of confidence. Now, he no longer had to worry about being intercepted. At worst, he would just have to fight a few more times and establish his own reputation. Qingchang Mountain Canyon. Li Fuchen pushed all the remaining snow silver ores into the pit on the mountain wall. Rumble. The earth trembled as the snow silver ore smashed into the ground, sending rubble flying everywhere. The remaining snow silver ore weighed around 1,800 kilograms. Even though it was a little heavy, it was still within Li Fuchen's limits. Carrying the snow silver ore, Li Fuchen walked out of Kengchang Mountain step by step. If he was tired, he would rest for a while. If he was thirsty, he would drink some water. 5 days later, Li Fuchen neared the Zhonglan sect. Li Fuchen, what are you carrying? Let us help you. Unknowingly, Li Fuchen was considered a celebrity in the outer sect. After the treasure fish incident, Li Fuchen received over 10,000 contribution points. Afterwards, Li Fuchen didn't go to the Zhonglan Lake, but to the ore mountains instead. Even though his first harvest was a pile of pig iron ore, and his second harvest was also pig iron ore. But it was rumored that Li Fuchen redeemed a total of 139 body-tempering pills in the resource hall. That was over 30,000 contribution points. Everyone suspected that Li Fuchen found a large pile of high-grade ores in the ore mountains. In order to not attract attention, he covered up the high-grade ores with raw iron ore. A group of outer sect disciples at the 8th level of the Qi realm surrounded Li Fuchen with ill intentions. Get lost. Li Fuchen glared coldly at this group of disciples. Li Fuchen, you better not be too arrogant. Haven't you heard of this saying? Better to share than to be happy alone. It isn't a good habit to keep everything to yourself. A tall and sturdy youth pointed at Li Fuchen and berated him. Senior Lu, why are you wasting your breath on him? With so many of us here, just a spit from each of us would be enough to drown him. Another youth spoke ruthlessly. Rumble. Putting down the snow silver ore that was wrapped in a coarse cloth, Li Fuchen cracked his neck and said lightly, let's go together. Save us the trouble. Arrogant. A strong gust of wind could be heard as a thick-boned youth sent a punch at Li Fuchen's head. Ping! With a cold smile, Li Fuchen lifted his right leg and sent his opponent flying with a kick, causing him to vomit a large mouthful of fresh blood. With a strength of 3,000 kilograms, Li Fuchen's physical fitness was unparalleled. At this moment, he didn't even need to rely on his combat skills. With his speed and strength, he could crush most people. Go together. The leader of the group had a vicious look in his eyes as he shouted. 7 or 8 youths rushed at Li Fuchen at the same time. Their Qi presence was like a violent storm, airtight. Just in time. In Li Fuchen's eyes, this group of people were too slow. With a whip kick, Li Fuchen sent one of them flying. With a twist of his body, he dodged the attacks of 3 others. At the same time, Li Fuchen sent 2 more flying with a series of kicks. Raising his left arm to block a punch from one of the youths, his right fist was like a venomous snake, drilling into the opponent's stomach. Crackle, crackle. In just a few breaths, on this vast empty space, no one was left standing except for Li Fuchen. They were all groaning in pain, some of them even had their ribs broken by Li Fuchen. Such strength. Not far away, some of the outer sect disciples who were glaring at Li Fuchen were dumbstruck and speechless. Too strong. Even some of the outer sect disciples who are at the 9th level of the Qi realm can't do this. He has only been here for 3 months, how can he be so strong? Could he be another Guanshui class expert? Acting like he had just done something insignificant, Li Fuchen carried the snow silver ore and continued on his way. Li Fuchen, just you wait. The leader of the group pointed at Li Fuchen and said viciously. Li Fuchen stopped in his tracks. Seems like I am too kind. As he spoke, he walked in front of the leader. What do you want to do? The leader stuttered. To let you remember. Crack, Li Fuchen broke the leader's calf with a kick. The leader hugged his calf and screamed in pain, his eyes rolled back. Too vicious. This Sun Yubao has a cousin who is one of the top 500 outer sect disciples. Just you wait, Sun Yubao will definitely look for his cousin. Chapter 48. Back at the Zhonglan sect, Li Fuchen went straight to the mission hall. The mission elder gave Li Fuchen a meaningful look but didn't say anything. Even though he was an outer sect elder and was in charge of the mission hall, it didn't mean he could disregard outer sect disciples. The last time he asked Li Fuchen if he found a large amount of snow silver or was already a small violation of the rules. If he were to pursue the matter of Li Fuchen lying to him, he would only be asking for trouble. Without knowing Li Fuchen's potential, he didn't want Li Fuchen to hate him. Leaving the mission hall, Li Fuchen let out a breath of relief. He was originally worried that the mission elder would find trouble with him, but he didn't expect anything to happen. 36,800 contribution points. It shouldn't be enough for me to reach the 3rd rank of the Crimson Battle form. Li Fuchen's cultivation speed was too fast, but at the same time, his consumption of resources was also fast. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that if it was someone with the same perception as him, they wouldn't be able to cultivate as fast. For body refinement techniques, perception was important, but so was willpower. During the year when his soul spirit dissipated, it strengthened his willpower, allowing him to endure what others couldn't. Little bastard, last time Elder Chen was around and couldn't do anything to you. Let's see who can save you this time. On the way back, an overbearing figure blocked Li Fuchen's path. Who else could it be but Zhou Huailong? He heard from others that even though Li Fuchen didn't go back to the Zhonglan Lake, he seemed to have found a large amount of high-grade ores in one of the ore mines and was now doing well. Since you delivered yourself to my doorstep, it saves me the trouble of looking for you. Li Fuchen wasn't a saint. Zhou Huailong broke one of his arms and he couldn't just ignore it like nothing happened. Zhou Huailong broke one of his arms. Do you want to die? Zhou Huailong couldn't believe his ears. His eyes were filled with a murderous aura. His fist was covered in a layer of black qi. Zhou Huailong was at the 9th level of the qi realm and had reached the 7th rank of the entry technique, the iron shell technique. Using all his strength, he could manifest qi on his palm and wrist. Don't underestimate the 7th rank of the entry technique. Even though the sect rules stated that if a disciple could reach the 7th, 8th, or 9th rank within a year, they would be rewarded too. But this was a reward for the true geniuses. For an ordinary outer sect disciple, reaching the 7th level of the entry-level technique within 2 years was already very good. Zhou Huailong was 18 this year, and it took him 2.5 years to reach the 7th stage of the iron armor art. Look, it is Zhou Huailong, Xianxia and Li Fuchen. Last time, Zhou Xianxia broke one of Li Fuchen's arms. This time, he will probably cripple Li Fuchen's limbs. The Zhonglan sect had 30,000 outer sect disciples. Basically, no matter where he went, there would be people. A group of people observed from afar and pointed at Li Fuchen. Li Fuchen didn't speak, revolved the 7th rank red jade technique, and stared at Zhou Huailong. Little bastard, I will break your limbs and make you lick my shoes. Zhou Huailong was infuriated by Li Fuchen's attitude. With a flick of his knee, he shot towards Li Fuchen and sent out a lightning-fast punch. The punch was so fast that the sound of cloth tearing could be heard in the void. But today's Li Fuchen wasn't the Li Fuchen from 2 months ago. Raising his left hand, Li Fuchen easily caught Zhou Huailong's fist. Impossible! Zhou Huailong tried his best to break free, but couldn't budge an inch, as though he was clamped down by an iron clamp. Go to hell. Zhou Huailong's left fist came at Li Fuchen. A pale black qi covered the fist, just like an iron fist. But, raising his right hand, Li Fuchen caught Zhou Huailong's left fist. Without waiting for Zhou Huailong to continue, Li Fuchen stomped on Zhou Huailong's abdomen, bending his back and causing fresh blood to spurt out. Don't you like to beat people up? Today I will let you have a taste of what it feels like to be beaten up. Li Fuchen stomped on Zhou Huailong's abdomen again and again. I want you dead. Zhou Huailong let out a venomous roar. Revolving the iron shell technique to the limit, a terrifying force burst out and broke free from Li Fuchen's grip. A fist landed squarely on Zhou Huailong's chin, sending him tumbling back a few times. Finally, he fell flat on his face on the ground. This is what it feels like to be beaten up, isn't it? Li Fuchen walked over and stomped on Zhou Huailong's head, causing it to sink into the mud while kicking with both legs. Gasps could be heard one after the other. The crowd was dumbfounded. Is this really Zhou Huailong Xixiang? He actually got beaten up by Li Fuchen. Did you guys notice? Li Fuchen's speed is so fast, my eyes can't even follow his movements. Could it be that Li Fuchen's ability improved so much in these 2 months? That's why he dares to challenge Zhou Huailong Shixiang? Life is full of ups and downs. It seems we have all underestimated Li Fuchen. Everyone felt a sense of sorrow. The Zhanglan sect had tens of thousands of disciples, and every day, there would be people who were bullied. But few were like Li Fuchen, who grew at such a rapid pace and beat up the bullies. Even if it was retribution, it came too quickly. This shitty, isn't this a little too much? Not far away, Luo Kai and a youth with flat brows walked over. Li Fuchen lifted his head, and when he saw Luo Kai, his eyes flashed. It's Luo Kai. Beside him is Luo Zhongtian Shixiang. He is stronger than Zhou Huailong and is also at the 9th level of the Qi realm. Someone recognized the identity of the youth with flat brows. What has it got to do with you? Li Fuchen didn't let go of his foot. Luo Zhongtian laughed arrogantly. Zhou Huailong's reputation shouldn't have fallen in your hands. You humiliated him like this, which is a huge mistake. How can I not care? Li Fuchen sneered. I think you have nothing better to do. Presumptuous, how dare you speak to my brother like this? Li Fuchen, kneel down and beg for forgiveness. Luo Kai pointed at Li Fuchen and raged. Luo Zhongtian was his cousin. In a family, it was normal for there to be a few members of the younger generation in the sect. The more prosperous the family, the more brothers and sisters in the sect. Cousins, there were a lot of them. Kneel? Luo Kai, I didn't intend to find trouble with you. But since you came looking for trouble, don't blame me for being impolite. Releasing his foot, Li Fuchen walked towards Luo Kai. Are all the newcomers these days so arrogant? Luo Zhongtian twisted his neck and suddenly threw a punch at Li Fuchen. Li Fuchen's expression didn't change as he countered with a punch. As if two boulders collided, both Luo Zhongtian and Li Fuchen each took 3 steps back. Your fist is rather hard. Li Fuchen was a little surprised. Through the exchange of fists, he could feel that Luo Zhongtian cultivated a body refinement technique. It wasn't as simple as just having a strong qi. In fact, when comparing the combined strength of their fists, Luo Zhongtian had the upper hand. Fortunately, Li Fuchen's physical strength was stronger. Even though his strength wasn't as strong as his opponent, his endurance was much better. After all, the difference in strength between the two wasn't that much. What body refinement technique did you cultivate? Luo Zhongtian's expression was gloomy. With a combination of qi and physical strength, his strength exceeded Li Fuchen's. But sometimes, strength didn't mean anything. Li Fuchen's fists were too hard. For example, under the same level of strength, one was wood and the other was steel. When the two collided, the wood would definitely suffer some damage. Chapter 49. You don't need to know. Let alone the fact that the opponent's strength was only slightly superior, even if it was much superior, Li Fuchen wouldn't put the opponent in his eyes. His actual combat ability and martial arts realm were his true advantages. With a spin, Li Fuchen was like a whirlwind as he sent out a dozen kicks at Luo Zhongtian. Iron skin. Luo Zhongtian was shocked. Compared to Li Fuchen's fist, Li Fuchen's leg arts were much sharper. Lowering his center of gravity, Luo Zhongtian tightened his muscles and crossed his arms, preparing to take on Li Fuchen's leg arts. Bang! Dozens of leg shadows merged into one, shocking the heavens. Luo Zhongtian was sent flying, and the taste of blood rose from his throat. So you're cultivating the iron skin shirt. Li Fuchen understood. Even though the iron mantle was not as good as the crimson battle form, it was still a body tempering technique. Once trained to a certain level, it could circulate blood and qi, contract muscles and fat, and increase the defense of the body. 7-star sword art. Forcefully swallowing the blood in his throat, Luo Zhongtian drew his wooden sword and swung it at Li Fuchen. It was impossible to describe the brilliance of this sword. The wooden sword, wrapped in a faint purple aura, flashed 6 times in a row like a purple star, and every time it flashed, it was breathtaking. 7-star sword style. It only flashed 6 times. Seems like it isn't at the completion stage. Li Fuchen let out a faint smile and executed the second move of the Red Jade Sword style, Red Jade Kill. If the first move of the Red Jade Swordplay, the Touch of the Red Jade, was said to contain a suction force. The second move, Killing of the Red Jade, was a sword that contained force. As the sword force spat out, the air surged, accompanied by a brief state of vacuum restriction. Most importantly, Li Fuchen's Red Jade Sword style was at completion. Crackle! With the 7-star sword style broken, Li Fuchen pierced Luo Zhongtian's abdomen, causing traces of blood to ooze out. The iron skin shirt was, after all, the iron skin shirt. Even its qi and blood were very condensed, so it was not easy to lose blood. Drawing the wooden sword, Li Fuchen slammed it on Luo Zhongtian's face, sending him flying and unable to get up for a long time. Roche, it's your turn. Li Fuchen pointed his sword at Luo Kai. Li Fuchen, what are you trying to do? This is the Zhanglan sect, how dare you act so presumptuously? Luo Kai, who regained his senses, acted as though he saw a ghost, trying to put on a brave front but feeling weak inside. He couldn't understand how Li Fuchen could improve so quickly in just 2 months. His cousin, Luo Zhongtian, had been in the Zhanglan sect for more than 4 years. Not only did he reach the 9th level of the Qi realm, he also cultivated the body refinement technique, iron-clothed shirt. Even 3 or 4 regular 9th level Qi realm martial artists wouldn't be a match for his cousin. It is too late to think that this is the Azure Water sect. Li Fuchen slammed his sword on Luo Kai's head like lightning. Bang! Just like Luo Zhongtian, Luo Kai's entire body flew out and spun a few rounds in the air before finally landing heavily on the ground and fainting. Looking around, Li Fuchen's eyes carried a trace of warning before he left indifferently. Everyone was frightened by his gaze and didn't dare to make a sound. After Li Fuchen left, they began to speak one after another. He's too arrogant. Does he think that he alone can intimidate all of us? Then why didn't you say anything earlier? Wasn't it because I didn't react in time? After all, Zhou Huailong and Luo Zhongtian were both defeated by him. Keep on bragging. I don't want to provoke him anymore. This Li Fuchen is obviously a malefic star. If you don't kill him, he will kill you. That's right. Us small fries shouldn't participate in this. Let those influential figures have a headache. Let them fight it out, we shall just watch the show. All along, no one took Li Fuchen seriously. They thought he was just lucky and obtained a large amount of contribution points. But now, no one thought the same. To be able to defeat Zhou Huailong and Luo Zhongtian was no ordinary person. Most importantly, 2 months ago, Li Fuchen was oppressed by Zhou Huailong. But after 2 months, he actually turned the tables on Zhou Huailong. It was simply heaven-defying. As for those influential figures, they were the outer sect top 500 disciples. Zhou Huailong and Luo Zhongtian may be strong, but they were still a distance away from the outer sect top 500 disciples. Damn it. Zhou Huailong and Luo Zhongtian crawled up with sullen expressions. After this battle, Li Fuchen became famous in the outer sect. His name even reached the outer sect top 500 disciples. ******1 ST grade outer sect disciple region, east side. This was an exquisite courtyard. There were plenty of plum blossoms planted in the courtyard. The plum blossoms had yet to bloom, but the vigorous branches revealed a trace of pride. An absolute beauty with a face like a painting and fair skin was practicing her sword art. The sword art was extremely mystical, like the plum blossoms, agile and graceful, with hidden killing intent. Guan Shui Shiji, congratulations on mastering the plum blossom sword style. A delicate young lady walked in from outside the courtyard and spoke with admiration. Plum blossom sword style, Zhanglan sects peak tier, yellow class sword art. Normally, only Origin Realm martial artists could master it. Of course, mastery didn't mean completion. I am only at the subcompletion stage. Guan Shui didn't mind. After being in the Zhanglan sect for half a year, she had already cultivated the Guan clan's high-tier, yellow class, water moon sword style to the completion stage. A few months ago, she spent 1,500 contribution points to redeem a peak tier, yellow class, plum blossom sword style. This is already incredible. I haven't even reached the completion stage for a high-tier, yellow-class sword art. The delicate young lady sighed. Why are you looking for me? Guanshui asked. The delicate young lady replied, Guanshui Shiji, have you heard? There is a new star in the outer sect. He has only been in the Zhanglan sect for 4 months and he has already defeated Zhou Huailong Xixiang and Luo Zhongtian Xixiang. What does this have to do with me? The delicate young lady blinked her eyes. I heard that this person is called Li Fuchen. He is from Yunwu City just like Guanshui Xixiang. Guanshui Xixiang, do you know him? Li Fuchen? Guanshui's eyes flashed with a strange glow. Guanshui Xixiang, you know him? The delicate young lady observed and instantly understood that Guanshui knew Li Fuchen. Guanshui nodded. I do. We were once engaged, but it was annulled before I entered the Zhanglan sect. So he is Guanshui Xixiang's ex-fiancé. No wonder he is so incredible. The delicate young lady didn't know about the relationship between Guanshui and Li Fuchen and was shocked. Guanshui shook her head. He wasn't this incredible in the past. This is rather strange. Li Fuchen was only slightly talented and was still within the range of a normal person. Her emotions didn't have much of a change. Li Fuchen's news only caused a slight ripple in Guanshui's heart. But soon enough, this ripple vanished. To Guanshui, she pursued the peak of the sword Dao. Her other half must be a dragon or phoenix amongst men. It was obvious that Li Fuchen didn't meet her standards. I hope you are not here for me. Pestering me is useless. Welcome to Legends of Cultivation, audiobooks, where we bring ancient fantasy to life through storytelling. Follow the rise of heroes who defy fate, unlock mystical powers, and battle across celestial realms. Our audiobooks are crafted for fans of Chinese cultivation novels, filled with battles, breakthroughs, and legendary artifacts. Subscribe and be part of an unforgettable journey into the realm of immortality.